Okay, everybody, give us just a minute to get people on here and make sure we're connected. Okay, we are live.
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Okay, so we'll just give everybody, so hello, everybody who's here. We're just going to give everybody a moment to get on. Okay. Forever who's so interesting. Okay. For anybody who is coming on, how has the energy been for you? So do you have it on your phone, since mine is so funky with this sometimes?
We do. We have Amanda and Sheila.
Hello, Sheila. I see you. Okay. Can you let me know, Monique, just to see if I get my replies going correctly, if somebody else says something or does something, and I'll see if it comes up on my chat.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to put something else, that would be great. So Sheila, say hello again. I'm testing it.
Karen is watching. Hi, Miss Karen. She just popped on. Amanda says testing, testing.
Okay, so you got something. Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, I didn't get that. So let me go back out. I have to pop out and then come back in to get that. I don't know why my settings are like that. Hello, Karen.
Yeah, and Sheila says hello.
That's so interesting. I've researched it too, and I just haven't been able to.
Holly and Tracy, welcome.
Hi, Robin. So how has the energy been for everybody? Have you noticed shifting at all? Have you noticed anything intense? Hey, Darla.
See, now you're seeing it before I am. You said hi, Darla, and I hadn't seen it, and then it popped up. Hello.
You know why? Because I'm going out and then I'm coming back in. That's the only way that I see them.
Really?
Otherwise, they don't show up, which is really strange.
Yeah, Hillary, very intense energy. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No doubt about that.
Okay, now this is interesting. If I go over to, if I don't want to see us on here and I don't want to look at you, I can see the comments on my computer screen.
Interesting.
That is really interesting. Robin.
I know.
Trying to get, well, giving up your nicotine habit, good job, but that's a challenge all by itself, isn't it?
Yeah, she's been sucking on that gum for as long as I've known her. You know I love you.
Good job, though.
Yes.
Good
I'm
job.
proud of you, and you got this.
So
Yeah.
we noticed that the energy was a bit intense too. So that's why we decided to do a video tonight. We weren't going to do it tonight. We were going to do it tomorrow probably, but it's been intense. So it felt like it was time for us to do this. We're gonna do some, Monique's gonna pull some cards this time. We've kind of taken turns on that. We're gonna talk about manifesting and just about the energy of what's going on right now. tap in maybe and see
Yeah.
what's going on, see how you guys are doing. So Sheila's been experiencing tense energy.
Yeah. Amanda, dealing with others trying to suck your energy. Oh yes, love. That has been a thing.
It's been a theme. It has been a theme. So when we talk about the energy right now, I mean, today is an important date, apparently, astrologically, but I want everybody to know that that is not my expertise. I tap into the energy of it and I understand the archetypes of the different planets because in hands, that's my reference point. They all have different archetypes for all the different parts on the hands. So I tap in from that perspective. I had no idea because I wasn't looking at the astrological perspective that this was a big day, but holy cow, were we feeling it? At least I was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This weekend, I noticed I got really tired. Like I was processing a lot of emotion and I was really tired, enough so that I was checking in. Did I pick up something? Is my body's immune system fighting something? Like, why am I so fatigued? So I noticed I experienced that a lot this weekend. Of course, I was traveling the week prior, so I didn't know if it was from the traveling too, but I noticed a lot of fatigue. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but
yeah, for me, it was extreme fatigue, almost to exhaustion, but not actually tired enough to sleep, just feeling really meh and super lethargic, like
Yep.
zero motivation. I noticed too, when I got kind of mired and sucked down into the energy, that my whole body felt super heavy, like especially around my legs, like I couldn't move forward. And super emotional to where there were days where I was so soft, all I did was cry and I had no explanation for it. And just
Yep.
really bounced around through a lot of different emotions, pretty much kind of like the grieving process actually, is what it kind of felt like. Like I cried for 2 days, had no reason for it, other than just honoring myself when I felt really soft.
Yeah.
And then I was like easily agitated and irritated for a day or two for no reason. And then it was like I was really sad, almost to the point of feeling depressed, even though I had no reason for that either. You know what I mean? So it's been like riding that wave and that current on the energy that we've got right now. And for me, I've been feeling it for probably close to a month, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
But we've had solar flares and we've had all the planetary realignments, and all the things that we're dealing with now have been like moving towards locking in where we are. And so it's been a thing, especially for the people that are awakened and can kind of dial into, okay, this is new, not super pleasant. Why? Yeah, it's been it's been something. And like somebody already mentioned, people trying to dial into other people's energies and attach themselves to other people to get themselves through it for whatever reason. There's no excuse for that, but in my belief anyway, I don't believe. I think it's kind of naughty, but that's me. And people trying to get through it any way that they can, even when they're less than stellar choices. There's been quite a bit of that too. It's been some pretty interesting, if not funky energy, to be honest.
It has been. And from what I understand, until someone mentioned it to me and I looked up, okay, what is going on? It's apparently a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction with Pisces energy. So just my understanding of what that means is that, there's some serious energy processing of emotions. There's a lot of energy of processing deep grief. Neptune is in the realm of the really deep emotions that reside. And there is a place right now, I think this year has been, last year, about clearing what no longer serves. Pulling it out of us and allowing us to see it and feel it and experience it so that it can finally be moved out. So it's an honoring of that. Right now is a real powerful time from when I tap into what that means. It's like it's a huge, powerful time for us to really feel deeply what needs to be felt. So I received the information that there's no going around this. Like there's no trying to pretend it doesn't exist. So, you know, all this tiredness and these emotions we're feelings and things we're processing, you guys aren't crazy. Feelings, you know, emotions are feelings in motion. They need to move out of our body, and you can try to push them away only for so long, and they are going to rise up and show themselves. And the more sometimes we surrender to that and allow ourselves to ask, what is it that they're speaking and what is moving through and what can we move into? It's almost a surrendering without going under into it. And then just allow it to move through and out. Have support if you need support for that. Have trust and faith in it. And know that that's part of the process. And when it comes through, then it's almost a rebirth. It's a refresh. It's a time. Here's where Jupiter, I feel, comes into action, taking new action. You're renewed, you're cleansed, you've healed, you've processed it. You allowed the feelings that were trapped and the emotions that were trapped to move out of your body. And now you can connect in and step into the new space to step into. So yeah, it has been a bit intense. I'm not gonna lie. And looking at some of the comments here, apparently that's what people are experiencing. Oh man, the same. I've been so tired. Thanks for making me feel less crazy, Mo. Good job, Mo. Yeah, you guys aren't crazy. And sometimes we fight it. We fight these emotions and it makes it worse.
Well, they can be scary, especially when they come
Yeah.
on really suddenly and you're like, what happened? And Darla mentioned like having, you know, like cold symptoms. And yeah, I woke up and with this energetic realignment and shift, headaches, fatigue, extreme fatigue, lack of motivation, headaches, migraines in particular, but anything that has like migraine
Yeah.
potential. I know I've been struggling with that this weekend, quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, but especially this weekend. And, you know, that's all part of it, because when we are uber sensitive, that all comes out. But like Sarah said, it's that deep dive healing that's been kind of stuck down and it's all coming up. And sometimes it's involuntary, although we always have choice. But for us to release that so that we can move forward, you know, no two things can occupy the same space. So out with the bad and in with the good, if you know, to put it super simplistically. But when we allow ourselves to feel the emotions, and I'm not gonna lie, like Saturday, I was really like, meh. And that's just how I was all day. So I just took a self day. Like I didn't do anything. It was kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie, I did nothing. And then I had to deal with feeling guilty because I did nothing all day, right? And so, but that was another step of the healing. So why did I feel guilty? I'm allowed to do nothing, right? And so taking those opportunities as they're presented to work on ourselves with love, always with love, so that we can release ourselves, so that we can move forward. When you expel all the ew, then we can fill it with good things so that we can move forward, because we lift our vibration, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, this isn't to say, so there's a caution within that. If you stay in that place of processing those emotions and they don't seem as if they're flowing through, sometimes we need help. So I'm going to throw that out there. If you are under the water and it doesn't release, if the tears aren't actually healing, if there's not movement, or whenever you feel is appropriate, get help. And that can be a variety of different things.
Yep.
There is no judgment there. There can be within the spiritual community, the shadow side that says, oh, you just need to be love, light, and positivity. Otherwise, you're just not energetically aligned and you're not in. And yes, we want to move into love, light, and positivity. We do want to feel joy and experience love and all of the great things. We navigate through the shadow to get there. And if you get stuck in there, you may need counseling. You may need energy work. You may need to support yourself in some other way.
Yeah, all of the above.
That's right.
As you're saying that, my humanist comes out because I'm like,
Well, there's been a place, though, if you look, there has been a place, and this is important to me. There's been a place where to be spiritual, you had to just always be happy. Well, there is a place for, as you heal this, you are much more happy. I'm a pretty happy person. I don't go there very often anymore. I used to get triggered all the time, and I'm not very often. But there has to be a place for looking at that, because we are divine spiritual beings that are meant to be in the wholeness of who we are. But we have a whole lot of clearing in between of who we actually are, what we're experiencing in the now moment. Always with the intention to move forward into us as divine creative spiritual beings, to create from that place instead of from the place of our perceived wounds and limitations. So, but that doesn't mean that we deny their existence, because it does exist. So this is important to me. And if you need help, get help. Know that we're here for you. We are here for you, but there's a lot of other people out there that are here for you.
Absolutely. And knowing that you're not broken either, and you're not crazy, and you're not alone. I know that we say it all the time, but it's really legit, because I know going through my own healing journey, and everybody's is different, and everybody's is, some are more intense and some are less than. Everybody's had stuff throughout their lifetime that we're dealing with, at any given point. And so I know in some of my more challenging, darker times of healing, I know, phone a friend, Sarah, I need your help.
Ditto, right back at you.
But we've been there, and that's why it's so important to find your people, find your vibe tribe, find the people that you know that you can go to without judgment, in a safe space, that are going to help you through whatever it is that you're working through. We all need help from time to time. And to say that you don't, you got some healing to do, love. I mean, honestly, we've all needed help from time to time, and it's okay. And sometimes, well, for me, I know one of my lessons was to know that it's actually okay and safe to ask for help. But it was about using the discernment and my intuition on knowing who to ask for help that was going to be safe for me.
And search for that. Don't accept if it doesn't feel right. Search for it. You're worthy and deserving of that, and you don't deserve to suffer.
Absolutely.
You don't deserve to suffer. So don't suffer with it. But moving through, tears are healing.
Yep.
Tears are actually healing, moving through, allowing yourself to truly feel it and express it, and maybe get your journal out. And if you connect to oracle cards or tarot cards, using them to help you, acknowledging it, allowing yourself to see that space of you, that part of you that's hurt and wounded, and giving them the love and attention that you need in that moment. All of these things you can do sitting in meditation, taking a bath, taking a hot tub. I think on Sunday I did 3 hot tubs clearing energy. I am not joking.
Awesome. That is so awesome.
Right? Like, I've been taking Epsom salt baths. It's my go-to, like crazy too. Those 2 things. Like, I am like turning, well, it is Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces. I think that's how they say it. Well, Pisces, hello. I've been in the water non-stop, letting stuff flow through. Yeah,
absolutely. So right before we started, and this kind of flows into the whole manifestation thing, which is all part of the energy. And this is why we're on tonight too, is that the energy and the realignments right now has Of course, we know that we can manifest at any given time, but everything is amplified right now. Everything is super amplified right now. And and with that, you know, we can, of course, there's a lot of belief work and other things in this as well, but we can see the fruition or the return of those manifestations quicker. There's that opportunity, that possibility, if you believe it's true. And there's other factors within that as well, but that is the general conception, right? So I actually was gonna pull a few cards, and these are for the group. And I do just have my Rider Tarot, just regular tarot deck, and 3 cards came flying out before I could even like.
Before you say that, can I ask them a question
Yes.
that I heard to ask them?
Yes.
So all this work we do into the shadow, into those places that are wounded, when you allow it to release and transmute and change, it opens up you to even more manifestation and creation, because it can, if you understand this or if you choose to, align you more fully with what you want to create. So I literally heard as she was talking about these 3 cards that you already pulled, you said?
They flew out. Yeah.
I want you to think about what it is you truly want to create in your life, because the truth is, with manifestation, we are always creating in every moment. So manifestation isn't a woo-woo term. Manifestation is simply what we do. From everything, from us manifesting, we are on here live right now, to the job we have, to the relationship we have. Like, what is it that you want in your life to create? What is that? And I just want you to take a brief moment to think about that, because I'm hearing the messages that are coming through may be a message having to do with that. Does that feel appropriate, Mo?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
so because I am going to pull more cards, so start thinking about, and
Okay.
these cards are just for the group. That was my intention, to like pull cards to see just for the group, and then I'll pull some towards the end for like more global consciousness, the global whatever. But these ones, I was like, ooh, should I do the group first? And these 3 just like, they just flew out. So
Okay, perfect.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So what was really interesting, and this card, I barely moved the cards, and this sucker came flying out, like it hit me in the chest, and I kind of fumbled with it. I tried to do it like all down low, you know, like discreet, but as you guys are all coming on, but it was the Ace of Pentacles, which, as we know, is about abundance, right? I know, I'm like, go figure, because they're going to talk about manifestation. You know, it's about intelligence too. There's that you can have an abundance of intelligence, like be financially well, be good with your money, and all those kinds of things. But that was the first one that shot out like a bullet. It represents gold too, believe it or not, which is abundance financially, right? And then the next card was actually the King of Swords, which, you know, he does sit in judgment. However, he is about taking authority and having command. Like
taking action, hearing about taking action on that abundance.
Bingo, right? So you can have abundance, but you're not going to keep it, maintain it, or even achieve it unless you start taking command and start taking those action steps. You know, we get those inspired ideas, but we have to put them in motion to reap the return. You can sow all the seeds that you want to, or you can want all the fruition that you want in the world, but until you sow those seeds to put it into motion, you're not gonna reap them. You're not gonna reap that harvest. And so I found that really fascinating. And then the last one I got was Jesus. Hold on. I just dropped it. Hold on. For the love. Sorry, guys. I got the Four of Wands. Sorry. I got the Four of Wands, which is really about beauty, but it's also the four represents foundation and stability, right? And without a solid foundation and taking action steps upon it, you're never going to reach the bounty that you're wanting. And so having that solid foundation is what's going to get you where you want to be. So you have to take those steps to get there, right?
Yeah.
And this is all about prosperity and peace and actually coming into who you are solidly based on your faith, right? Have faith and trust. We say it all the time. Well, if you don't have that solid foundation, you can't really build on that. And that's going to look different for everybody. And that's okay based on your beliefs, right? So, oh man, okay. They're all like, blah, 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 blah.
So when you're thinking of what it is you want to manifest, what you want to create in your life, and with those three cards, abundance is, as Mo already said, is about more than money. It's about abundance of joy, abundance of love, abundance of connection, abundance of peace, abundance of time. There's so many things there. Abundance is a beautiful word. And as you step into that, in the creation of that, action is incredibly important. Right aligned action is important. Sometimes we get caught up in a wheel of taking action for the sake of action's sake, instead of aligned action, instead of an action that's in the right energy, not as in right or wrong, like, but from the place of, let's say you are talking about money and manifesting, unlimited abundance with money, and you have that flow, you can take a lot of action in all these different ways. And some of them may not be aligned actually with that vision and that goal. There's something about, and that's, this is important. All that releasing that we're doing is part of that. When you have all this stuff, this energy that needs to be released, and one of the biggest things that can actually block you is resentment and anger. They can block you from stepping in. When you're holding that, sometimes your motivation for taking action is all that. It's all of that. It's proving yourself. It's being good enough. It's a whole lot of other stuff, instead of, I want to create this because it would be great. And I know it's aligned with my purpose. And, I deserve to have love in my life. And from that place, and then taking the trust, the inspired action to step in from that point. Sometimes we need to have the inspired action. And then sometimes it's not about pushing through the one doorway. It's about allowing all the doors that open, and our angels and our guides and our intuition to inspire us to allow them all to open. And which one are we going to open up? How are we going to step through that? So that's part of the release. The release is not just so we can, okay, we're releasing. Why? It actually frees up space to create what you do want when you're manifesting. It's really, really powerful. And always looking forward with the manifesting. What do we want to manifest? What do we want to step into? And releasing all that's from the past, all the trauma, all the guilt, all the other things, undeservability, not good enough, releasing it, allowing it to flow through so that we can align with what we do want to create. And that'll create the stability. That'll create the foundation that you really truly want.
Yeah.
So what do you want? And I want can sometimes be a negative word, by the way, if we're aligning, if we have a belief that what we want is unattainable, or it's something that's out there instead of here.
Right. And that I've heard that too about, and that's true, but it's like,
you have to start somewhere. You have to start with a question. Absolutely. What do you want? Yes,
absolutely. And like I've always taught my kids, make a list of what you need and what you want, because there is a distinct difference, right? And those actually carry a different vibration too. and things that you need, not coming from a space of lack, but things that you require for you to move forward. Like for example, when I got certified Reiki 1 and 2, I was like, all right, driving home, all right, peeps, if you want me to do this, then I need a Reiki bed, and I am not paying for it. Well, I got it the very next day. And so it doesn't always happen like that, but it did. Right. And so that there's that, but it's looking at, okay, you want financial abundance. Why? Oh, would that give you an abundance of time, which would be what? Freedom, right? We talked about this today, right? And so it's looking at the energy behind the why.
Oh, and then the action. Oh, that's powerful what you just said, because I just literally, Gadiel just piped in. So you want an abundance of time and freedom. You want that. The action would be to set boundaries.
Right.
Right. So look at it from a different perspective, maybe.
Right.
Like, what actions do you need to align with your energy, what it is you hope to what you are bringing into. See, time is an illusion. So what you want to create is not out there, it's right here. So how do you align right here? And when you let go of what's back there, you align with what's you want to create in the now moment, and it brings it to you. So what actions does the person who have that take to create that?
This is the card that fell out, strength.
Which does require that, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And strength that's what, an 8, which is abundance.
we've got a message going, guys.
You cannot make this up, y'all. It literally, these 3 cards literally flipped out, and I was just like playing with them, but they flipped out. Strength.
I think the guys are trying to say they want you to have abundance. They want you to be supported. They want you to step in. They want you to release, because you guys are important. Yes. You're important, and we need you.
And what I love about this card, oh geez. So, of course, it's the maiden with the dog or whatever, but look, she's got the infinity sign.
Ooh.
This is tapping into your infinite wisdom that is yours divinely. Standing in that power, standing in that strength. I'd say taking the bull by the horns, but it's like a dog, right? And doing what it is that you feel that you need to do. And wow. The world was the next card that fell out.
Oh, I just got zinged on that one.
Yes, ma'am. So it was strength in the world, because you really have the power to create whatever it is that you want to in your world, in your bubble, in your life. The power is in your hands. You just have to put it into motion. The world is always spinning. So is our energy, right? So you have the power to create your reality. And I know people say it all the time. In fact, it's even on my water bottle, create your reality. But it's so true. And once we realize that, because like Sarah said, time doesn't exist. So the time that we have, yes, we touch the lives of other people, but we also create our own world that we live in within the bigger world.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Whew. And man, that's powerful. Wow.
The Wheel of Fortune, which again, the world keeps on turning, but the wheel does too. So if you want that abundance and you're wanting to call in all those things, and the wheel shows that things are lining up, a lot of you are coming into your next divine timing and feel it. A few of them are smaller ones, some of them are bigger ones, but those are all starting to line up. And when that wheel lines up, it's going to unlock a lot of things that you've been waiting on to come through. There's still some work to be done, and that's the energy that we're sitting in right now.
Now, when I say that time is an illusion, guys, I'm not saying that we have time. We have clocks over there. We have past, present, future. So I'm not saying that, but to a certain extent, time is only relative to this experience as opposed to the spiritual experience. So,
absolutely.
And there's even more depth within that. It's interesting because I've been channeling the last few days that wheel over and over and over again, that wheel of time, that wheel of fortune, that wheel in right timing that comes into play.
Oh, absolutely. And even with the world, it's about success, change of place. Sometimes people are going to be moving because it's always in motion. So that's going to look different for everybody, but it is success. It's finding that success. It's finding that footing, whether that means changing. There's change. I just keep hearing change.
So Amanda just said she literally let go of what no longer served her today and left her job. She's trusting in all the unseen steps forward. Wow. So you're really going through some major shifting.
Absolutely. And this is change of place. That's actually what part of the definition of the card is. That is interesting.
And your divine team is asking for you to recognize, for everyone to recognize. It's so interesting. A lot of what we're letting go of that no longer serves is the space of, oh my goodness, they're saying grieving who we wanted to be and who we believe we're not from a place of judgment. And they're saying there's a place for letting go of that doesn't serve and disconnecting from all of the false paradigms that sit out there, all the places, because we plug into collective, disconnecting from the collective fear, from the collective control, collective, so that we can be who we came to be. There's this big message, and I don't know who the message sits for anybody who's judging or regretting where you are and the grief about that, but if you're feeling that, where you were at served a purpose and you learned from it. So allow yourself to learn and then step into wisdom moving forward. I'm not sure who that applies to, but.
Several. I hear several.
So let go of the judgment, release the judgment, take a deep breath and let it flow through.
Yeah. And, Hillary chills. Yes. The Wheel of Fortune is about destiny, success, luck.
And right timing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this typically, and I don't, for anybody that knows me in cards, I always look at the definition of what they say, but you got to go with your gut too. And for me, these three together, this is about, and Amanda, you just did it. It's about having the strength to make those changes to better your space and place of where you are. I mean, these cards were like for you there, girly, but you're not alone either, right?
Yeah, big time.
So again, it's about manifesting and creating the reality that you want for yourself and having the strength to go, I know that I'm worried. I know that I'm worthy and I'm deserving and I can do this. And it's also about listening to your intuition and timing too. There is that. Robin, yes, you too. She's like,
so I feel like I have 20 voices going in my head right now and they're throwing out stuff to you guys. Like literally, I just heard, you need to eat more bananas. Someone needs bananas and you need to drink more water to help you process the emotions. Okay, I got it out now. Okay.
And the Wheel of Fortune, because I do numerology too. The Wheel of Fortune, that's a 10, which in tarot is completion. The 10 in tarot is completion.
So it's a completion of a cycle and a stepping through into a new one.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So look at you guys go.
Which is what this whole energy is about. And we move into it. It's about letting go so you can step into. Let go so you can step into. So don't be overwhelmed with that. But what is the thing that you're here to, that you would best serve you to let go of? Is it stagnant grief that just needs to process through with the understanding that you still love the person and might still have some grief? Is it judgment? Is it unworthiness? Is it relationships that they need to shift into a different way of being? What is it within you that needs to let go?
Amanda, bring it on. I'm ready.
Yeah. And then as you do that, consciously do that and choose to do that and release that and step into the opposite of that. If it's judgment, non-judgment, or discernment and wisdom from a place of love instead of inappropriate judgment, and step into that. And then what do you want to create in that energy instead? Bring it on. I'm ready.
So these are the Healing with the Angels Oracle cards. Ask for a softer, more loving. I mean, that was good message of tarot, don't get me wrong. But I asked for, yeah, it's awesome. You're gonna love this. Emerging. This is emerging through all the things that are going on right now, globally, within yourself, your work-life balance, stepping into your gifts and abilities, and allowing yourself to emerge in the way that is in your highest and best way. Releasing all expectations that you've put on yourself or allowed others to place on you as well. But truly stepping out into who you are and allowing yourself to come to the surface. Empowering yourself and doing it with love. I love this. You just can't even. And with that emerging of everything that's coming out, it's about forgiveness. And I know this is the F word of F words in a reading, but this is about, forgiving other people, which forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. It doesn't have to, because it's not about them. It's about freeing yourself, breaking those ties and those binds that keep you connected to somebody because you're holding on to instead of releasing and forgiving and moving on. But it's also about forgiving yourself for maybe staying at a job for too long, knowing that you stayed at a job too long, and not leaving sooner to find your joy and to fill your own cup. Maybe forgiving yourself for staying in a relationship too long that you know is no longer serving you in any way, or whatever it may be. There's no judgment here, but it's doing the work to allow yourself to move forward, forgiving yourself for whatever it is, free and without guilt, free and without bitterness, resentment, or anything else, and releasing yourself from the cords, the bonds, and the chains that keep you connected to something or someone because you haven't forgiven them yet. And, sometimes it takes a while, and that's okay too. Even if it's, I forgive you, and you're saying it, I forgive so-and-so, and you might not, and that's okay. But the more you say it, then you're speaking it into truth.
Yep.
And I'm saying that from personal experience.
And allowing it to be the forgiveness that frees you, because I know a lot of people, especially if they've had abusive situations, they don't forgive because that's actually a boundary for them and it keeps them safe and protected. So you may need help again with that one too, but know that forgiveness doesn't mean that you reinstate relationships. Mm-hmm. Forgiveness doesn't mean you get an all access pass. Nope. Or the other person does. Forgiveness doesn't mean any of that. It's more of and it doesn't say that whatever it was okay.
Mm-mm. Oh, no.
So this is really, really important. It doesn't say you get to hurt me again. It doesn't say I ever need to talk to that person again. No. That's a hard no sometimes. It can be that with some situations, but it's giving yourself the freedom to not be tied to them anymore.
Yeah.
So almost for some of that, so when those are really intense situations, almost see as if you do that, but it's not about pulling the energy back in. It's about totally releasing all of it.
Yeah, freeing yourself. Yeah, forgiveness absolutely does not mean reconciliation in most cases, but it can. It just doesn't have to. You can forgive to release and heal yourself. What they choose to do with whatever, that's on them, right? But as we do this, right, we start doing the inner work and forgiving, and however that may look, however that is needed, and emerging, moving forward and allowing things to come to the surface, your divine timing starts clicking into place more and more.
More divine timing message.
Absolutely. And you know, the little Cupid, his arrow never misses. He hits the target, he hits the bullseye. But sometimes we have to do the work so that that can come in, you know, because sometimes we got to clear some things up for this to be able to move into place so that we can then come into you. I'm serious, you can't make this up, to get the blessings that they have in store for us.
Yeah.
And those blessings come in different ways. You know, you might be manifesting abundance and you might get a refund check in the mail. It might be a small one, but hey, it's still abundance. It's found money. You weren't expecting it. You might get a bump in your credit card, however that may look. It's different for everybody. For those, I'm always like, hey, thankful, grateful, blessed. I wasn't expecting it. It's a found blessing.
Look at all that abundance flowing in.
Absolutely. And
you know,
and
Monique
I did just that. It was like, I don't know, it wasn't a huge amount for the check, but I was like, wow, I am truly grateful, thankful, and blessed, because I wasn't expecting it. So I accepted the blessing with the attitude of gratitude.
Yep. You know, it's funny, you said at the very beginning about when we're clearing this stuff that you're like, what the heck is going on? You mentioned something about, you know, we have free will and yet we're clearing all this stuff. Part of that, you just pulled the divine timing card, and that's part of it. Our higher selves are helping us to move into our divine timing. And there's our divine timing, there's a collective divine timing, there's a lot of energy there. So if our divine timing is something and it's coming, what do we need to get rid of? And so sometimes we get triggered within that. Everything is an opportunity for expansion, and that's sometimes hard to see or to look at, but everything's an opportunity. So what is the opportunity? What am I releasing so that I can step into? What is that?
Well, and I love that you say everything's an opportunity, because on the bottom of the deck, music. So somebody's been listening to a lot of music to help release emotion, and music reaches us in a space and place within our soul and within
Beautiful.
our body that no words can ever even attempt to. And music, I could hear a song from when I was little, and it shifts me back to the very first time I can tell you where I was, even what things smelled like around me. We used to live out in the country, so I could smell, like all the things, and it'll shift me back. I remember standing up in the back seat of my mom's car, because we didn't have seat belts and car seats back then. I'm dating myself, but I'm just saying. But it does, and music can do that. And there are times when I feel stuck and I know my normal helpers are busy. I will dial into some music and I just listen to whatever my body wants. I will dial into that music and turn it up loud and just let all that emotion flow.
Dance is another way with the music to let it release. I do. I'm the goofy parent. Yes, I am. I'm the one who dances all over the place. And I really just let it flow, whatever it is, and it can really get it out of the body. It can really help it process out of the body.
Absolutely. And it goes for joy too. And
yes,
I'm that parent at Christmas time. I have got Christmas music cranked. It is blasting, and I am absolutely in my happy space in my kitchen, baking up a storm, and my kids will be like, oh, mom's baking, because the Christmas music is blaring and they hear stuff going on in the kitchen, but they're always quick to say, ooh, what's that? Or they'll be like, oh, that smells good. That's my happy space, right? I love Christmas.
Yeah.
But that brings me joy. That fills my cup beyond all measure. And they know if they want any of it, they got to get it pretty quick because I tend to give it all away. Because I just do it because I love it.
Mr. Rogers stuck song out. That's funny. Was my stuck song out of nowhere today. Oh, I'm not going to get that one in my head, but I hear you. Yeah, music will, I mean, so it moves stuff out of the body in a really beautiful way, but it does raise your vibration. It does align you. Man, if you want to manifest something and you like, you put it out what you want to create, do some serious, feel good music, align with that intention in your brain. You're literally quantumly connecting to what that is and helping to create.
Oh yeah.
it.
And the
Yeah.
next, yep, the next, all right, the next two cards, they were on the bottom under music, but it was celebration. Don't forget to find those moments in your life and in your day. And some days are challenging. Some weeks are challenging, but it's like find some moment, something every day to celebrate, to have that attitude of gratitude and that thankfulness and that joy. Find the one thing. When my kids were younger, I would ask them every day. We'd sit down to have dinner, me and my three kids, and I would ask them, we'd go around the table and I would ask them, what's the worst thing that happened for you today? What do you feel was the worst part of your day today? And they would share that worst part of their day. And then I would ask them to end on a happy note. What was the best part of your day today? And we would go around the table, and that way they could share and they could unload it, get it off, but they would end on a happy note and then it would go to the next kid.
Yeah.
And I never shared because I'm an adult and they were kids, right? But what I found was by ending on that happy note and celebrating with them, whether it was, I got a gold star because I did good on my spelling test, yay! And we all celebrated with them, that left them on a high note. I had less arguing, fighting through the night, and I had two boys that are 14 months apart. Trust me, there was a plenty of that. But what I found is that shifted all the energy so that we had much nicer, smoother evenings, less arguing and bitterness because everybody got to celebrate their happy thing. Well, once my boys got into like fourth and fifth grade, it was interesting because a light bulb went off and the kids had gone around the table. And so I was like, all right. And so then we were just talking about, because I think it was like midweek. So we were talking about, I was going to take them to like the beach that weekend because we were living back east. And my youngest got really quiet. And I said, well, what's wrong? Because he'd been really looking forward to going to the ocean. And he got really quiet and he goes, well, what about you, Mom? What was the worst part of your day today? And I was like, oh, traffic. Traffic, because I commuted. And he goes, well, what was the best part of your day? And I said, coming home, because I get to see you guys and I get to spend time with you and I get to hear about your day. But the light bulb clicked for him. And so that was a celebration to me as a parent, that they were including me in the happy. Does that make sense?
That's big. That's really big.
Appreciated it. But when we do all these things, especially when we find those reasons to celebrate and bring that joy and fill our cup, that spills over to other people, right? And that, my lovies, brings us to the last card, which is all about your answered prayers. Because they hear everything. And somebody needs to hear this. Your tears have not gone unheard or noticed. They have been heard and they have been noticed. And although you feel really alone right now and super isolated and like feeling as though nobody would fully understand or even care. And there's also another note, and it may be a totally different person, of if people really truly knew me, like heard the things in my head, they wouldn't like me. And I'm telling you right now that that is not true. Because you are being reminded right now that you are absolutely beautifully and wonderfully made. And you are an amazing person, and you have so much to give and so much to offer and so much love to give and to receive. This is about you doing the work, love, so that you can bring yourself into alignment, so that you can bring in your blessings, so that they can be brought in for you. And knowing that you're worthy and deserving of that. And that everybody else, you look around and it's like, well, geez, everybody else gets what they're wanting. What about me? Well, it's for you too. You haven't been forgotten. You've not been forgotten. You've not been abandoned.
And maybe that's what you're letting go of.
Bingo. And it's about allowing yourself to be open to receive the blessings and the things that you've been praying for and the desires of your heart. And you are worthy. Absolutely worthy. And I'm just giving each and every one of you a huge, huge Mo hug. And for those that haven't had one, we'll have to remedy that.
Gives the best hugs.
I'm soft in all the right places. At the mom bod, I'm rocking it.
You just give a lot of love. A lot of love.
Aww. Monica says the world needs all of us in our authentic self. And when we step into our authentic self completely, we do find our tribe. And that is absolutely true. Robin, best hug ever. Amanda, aww. Her daughter needs this message right now. Told me tonight she didn't believe in God or a higher power. Her prayers have never been answered. Aww. You know, she's trying to find where she fits in the world and how she fits in the world. And that is, it's not always easy. And I don't care how old you are, whether you're little or you're older as an adult even. I've struggled. I struggled in accepting my gifts and abilities as a Christian. How do we do that when you're told that it's wrong, it's against God? But yet you read the Bible and it says the gifts of the Spirit, and here we are, right? And so I had that push, pull, drag, and so I'm like, well, why would God give me these if they're not right to have? And even through all the trauma and all the things in my life, there was a long period of time where I felt like God hated me. He forgot about me. He abandoned me, because why am I going through hell on earth? And so I can relate to her, but I can also tell you, Mom, that it won't be long, and she's going to find her way, and she's going to find her niche. And you're here. She chose you so that you could be here to help her through that and to help love her through that. And so it's really about just reinforcing to her right now that she's not broken. She's not alone. And she's definitely not been forgotten. Sometimes, and I just had this I've been having this conversation a lot lately, and this was my own epiphany. Sometimes rejection is saving us from something. And I know we know that on a very basic level, but to feel like you're constantly getting rejected or pushed aside or feels like you're forgotten a lot, it's really easy to go within and start saying, well, what's wrong with me? When there's nothing wrong with you. It's just not, you're timing it to have whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And maybe that thing or that person is not the right one. And so within that rejection, if you will, or feeling as though nothing ever comes your way, it is a form of rejection, right? In the most basic way. That's actually saving you from getting into a situation that would not have been in your highest and best good. And I know that's easier said than done. And when you're sitting in that space of, well, what the hell about me? What's wrong with me? And I've been there. It's not easy to hear that. So it's just really important to just love her through that and just let her know that she is wanted and valued and treasured and cherished and all those things.
Yeah.
just love her through that and just keep encouraging her and hold space, mama. Hold space for her, just to let her know that things will come her way, and soon, I hear. And I really hate that word for very many reasons, but it is coming. It's just hasn't been the right time yet. And I know that sounds awful, but when it
Some of
comes,
it is, and some of it's so this is so interesting.
Mhm.
There was a period of time where I felt like what I wanted wasn't being created and I wasn't getting anywhere. There's no motion within it. And I wanted it to look exactly like this. And sometimes when we
Right.
pray or we ask, it has to look like this. But divine wants to bring it and it wants to look like this,
Mhm.
or wants to come through this door when it comes over here, or the right time, like Mo said. And we so try to isolate it into this. Sometimes our prayers are answered and we can't see that they were because it didn't look the way we thought it was going to.
Right. We miss
So,
it.
so and I'm hearing distinctly, you're here to help her see that. Um, you're here to help her see those doors and the openings of that. Um, and help her to connect to how infinitely loved she is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes, like you said, we get so hyper focused and so zeroed in on, um, everything that we limit it. We put it in a box, and that's really cute. We can put a bow on it, and it looks all pretty. But if we just, this is what we want, this is what we need, this is whatever, and then we let it go.
We allow.
Yeah, and that's challenging too sometimes. But when you let that go and release it, the universe will return it, but it's going to look way better than what we envisioned if we allow it to. Seriously. And that's again easier said than done. Been there as well. And I believe we all have. And if somebody says no, I would challenge that.
Yeah.
'Cause we're
And not
human.
knowing how old your daughter is or what her prayers are. But sometimes if we're praying for other people too, we don't get control over other people. We don't get, we don't get to influence other people's free will, or
Right.
there can be some other things. Divine timing comes into play when it comes to that. But
Yeah.
um, our own beliefs can get caught up into that too. But yeah.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, Amanda, I get like Sarah, I don't know how old your daughter is. I feel like she's fairly youngish. But I can tell you, I raised my kids in the church, but and they've been baptized and the whole thing. But there was a time when they all walked away, and I was, oh yeah, teenager. Yep, I was kind of feeling that. My kids walked away, and when they were teenagers, they were like, "Yeah, I'm pretty much done." I think the boys held on a little bit longer because they really enjoyed youth group and the activities. It was more about the activities, and just it was social hour. So, um, you know, but they always come back. They always come back, and she will find her way. She will find her way, and thank you. And what I'm hearing above all is just know that she is safe and protected,
Mm.
and she is being guided. Um, she doesn't quite fully understand that yet, but she is. I see God's hand upon her head very strongly,
Mhm.
and I see her illuminated. So, thank you. And Archangel Michael's like, because he's standing right next to her, so he's
Yeah.
like right here. So she is protected, and she will come back. She will come back to where she'll come back to her original belief system that she came in with.
Or
Um,
more fully connected to it.
absolutely, as far as her faith goes, is what I was
Mhm.
meaning. But she'll come to the truth, and she'll come to her own realization, and she'll come to the space and place that she was always intended to be at. Um, she's got some gifts that'll be opening up, in the not so distant future. And, she'll be seeking more answers. And that is when she will truly step into and find her space and place. She's gonna be okay, Mom. I promise.
Whew.
Oh, I'm trying not to cry. I'm like, I didn't bring any tissues with you. I'm sitting at the kitchen table.
I
It's
know,
okay
I'm
to
like,
cry.
what? Yes.
It's okay to cry, love. I mean, I feel that. I feel that. And as a mom, I've been there. And
Yeah.
tears are healing, honey, and just let that out, release it. And I'm sure a lot of that's relief because I know as teenagers, oh Lord, that can be some stress and pressure on a parent's heart.
Well,
And
if you can believe, believe so deeply in divine, it's not even a belief system, it's just truth for me. But if you can believe it, when I was a teenager, I had no faith, none.
same.
I did not believe there was a God. I didn't believe God would have created what exists. I did not believe in divinity in any form. I shut off all my gifts. I was totally disconnected in my perception at that time. And it took some major life events to come back into awareness of that. So, I mean, I was like as disconnected as you can get. Like, I remember verbally saying, there is no divinity. It is just us. And we are on our own here. I said that, clear, cancel, delete. So,
Yeah, and I remember looking at Jesus and saying, I believe in you because you're here, but God must hate me, therefore I hate him. And he goes, but he doesn't hate you. And I said, well, he must, because look at all the shit that I've been through in my life. And I was a salty teenager. I really was. I was salty, but you know, I was a survivor too. And that saltiness helped me get through what I needed to get through. No excuses for being an a-hole, but you know, it just is what it is. I made it. I survived. I'm here to tell the tale. But you know, I think honestly, we all go through that at some point in some way. Not everybody's
not to the extreme, right?
Yeah, everybody's the same. Some people, you know, hold on to their faith through their entire life, and God love them because we need those people. You know, we do. So, you know, everybody has a role to play, but you know, looking back, it's like this is and I bet Sarah, I bet if you do it, you'll see the exact same thing. At my worst of doubt and almost hating God and all that he stood for, and all of that, although I always loved my angels and I loved Jesus, looking at the people that I was surrounded by, they were all God-loving Christians, good people that were always there to be like, hey, Mo, are you having, you know, what's going on today? They were always there to love me through it. And that's not possible if God hated us. That's as an adult, that was the awareness. Looking back on some of the really tough times in my life and the most challenging, when I look back, all the people that were around me at that time were absolutely God appointed to be in my life at that time, because God knew that I would need them to lean on and to help get me through.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, hindsight's 2020. We don't always see it until after the fact. Although I loved and appreciated all of them at the time, I just didn't realize how much they actually saved me in more ways than one. And, you know, that's what's going on with your daughter too. People are being moved into place and have been put into place to help her through these rough times. And, you know, and I mean, rough times is that she's a teenager. She's a teenager. I couldn't imagine being a teenager in this day and age I mean, I know how hard it was with all the pressures when I was a teenager. I couldn't imagine even more because, you know, we didn't have social media when I was a teenager, so there's no proof. Nowadays, that stuff's forever. And so I can't even imagine, let alone, you know, struggling with, you know, do I have faith? Do I not have faith? And where you stand in the world. But just know that she'll get through this. And there's all these people that are surrounding her that will help her get through it. Just hold space, Mom. She'll be okay.
Absolutely. And you know what? This is how we learn through this reality until we shift it. We learn through the duality. And so sometimes it is those questioning of faith that makes us step more into faith when it comes back around.
Absolutely.
I've always had extreme energies, so I didn't have that story where I believed in angels, or mine was like child, totally in it, teenager, totally nothing, no anger, nothing. It just didn't exist. I didn't understand it, so it didn't exist. And then boom, life happens. Oh, God exists. I love you. Don't know what that looks like, but here we are. Here are the angels again. They're back.
Right.
But I have a lot of, speaking of planets, I have a lot of Pluto energy, and Pluto is like extremes. Sometimes there is like this shift from one state into alchemy into another state.
Right.
So that was my experience. And maybe I was just shut down as a teenager, not connected to my emotions, but
well, and I think at some points a lot of us do. I know for me, that was how I survived.
absolutely.
It was too painful to be dialed in and connected to my emotions. That never seemed to end well for me. So it was just easier not to.
But just know that questioning of faith, that questioning of it, sometimes is part of the process of stepping into more fully into faith. It just is.
Right. And
It just
learning,
is.
because here's the thing too, she'll take that experience and be able to help somebody else later.
Oh, and I hear the message in here for anyone that this resonates with anything, and it doesn't even have to be this situation. If it's bringing you fear, if it's bringing you as a parent into a space of worry, allow yourself to shift that into love. Allow yourself to show the way. Allow yourself to be a guide. Allow yourself to love. And that will actually allow them to shift their energy more fully and with more ease. Yeah, that just came through. So I don't know who that applies to, but if it applies, I know with teenagers can be, they can be interesting. And sometimes we can go into a fear place as a parent, depending on our experiences. I mean, no joke. And there's true discernment within that. And sometimes fear is very appropriate.
Absolutely.
But there's also a place to shifting into, like, especially with this situation, guidance and love. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Well, I am hearing, Mo, that we are not supposed to do the world reading tonight.
No, I got that earlier.
Okay. I'm hearing like, no, this was all about them. So
yeah. So I just split the deck and I said, all right, let's see what we got. So tonight's message wrap up, I guess, is to find your balance and harmony. Find your harmony in the world, in your life, in your space, in your relationships, and settle down on that foundation that you've built your life upon and who you are upon, that faith, that foundation, and just allow yourself to come into the harmony of your life and of who you are, and know that you are more than enough.
yes, you are, every single one of you.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So take some time. Sometimes there's a beautiful, I still, not every year, but some years are tougher than others for me with some of the grief I hold or the different things, but with the grief particularly. And sometimes I need some form of recognition of that, because grief is one of those things, unlike other emotions, that can be totally, it can, our cells feel that loss. So it's a different type of emotion than all other emotions. So if you're struggling with that one in particular, since we are in the Neptune conjunction, Jupiter, Neptune, and Neptune is about deep, deep, deep emotions, including grief. I know sometimes I need a physical acknowledgement and honoring of. So, and we can sometimes get locked in grief when it's combined with something else that's holding it hostage.
Yes.
So, such as if you have guilt, maybe that's the part you need to release, acknowledge the grief, allow it to flow. You're still going to love that person, still experience, but move through. So, I loved when we lived next to the river before we moved. I would go to the river and I would bring rose petals and I would release them for my brother. I would acknowledge him. I would love him. I would talk to him. You know, I love my pets, and my last dog that passed away, I still grieve. And so I walk through that acknowledgement, and I bring him into the now moment and allow him to be here as my guide, as my so sometimes giving yourself that permission to do that. Sometimes it's I'm at the sink. What about this? I've got some guilt that I know is inappropriate, or I've got judgment I want to let go of. I am pouring that guilt down the drain, right? Sometimes we need that action to see that we're releasing or imagining it going. So give yourself the space for that. And then I'm here and give yourself the space now. What do you want to step into? What do you want to create that's, and it might be more of something like more joy, or it might be abundance. So what is that? Allow yourself to focus on that, to shift into the alchemy of that.
And visualize what that would mean to you. So
yes.
You want an abundance of time. Okay, so what would you do with that time? And start visualizing that. If you want more freedom to go, well, it's not really the greatest weather, but to go hiking and to be outdoors and to reconnect with nature and feel the sunshine and, you know, all things we don't really have right now in Montana today. But we
did Friday, just a few days ago.
It was a teaser, but you know, but if that's one of the things that you would like to do with more abundant time, start visualizing that. If you are asking for, if you're asking for an abundance of money, what would you do with that money? If it's to buy a new car, what kind of would that be? And start visualizing, seeing yourself behind the wheel of the car that you want. If it's to buy a new home, what are your must-haves in that home? What would that look like to you? And start envisioning your stuff in the home that you want. And so it really is about pulling in your creativity and your imagination to fully visualize, to help bring that into reality as you create your own reality with your manifestations.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Just one more thing on the whole grieving thing too, Sarah, you know, this past month, you know, to be really honest, I've grieved the lost opportunities with my mother. I never got to have the relationship with her that I really wanted and that I really desired and actually needed as a kid. And so
that's that regret, the grief over the regret of the opportunity lost. Yep.
Absolutely. And so, you know, because my mom's gone, she passed in 2009. And so that never came to fruition. I had always hoped that as I became an adult, that maybe that would shift, and it just never did. And, you know, we've had long talks now that she's crossed over about it, but I never got to experience that in this lifetime from her. But again, I did from other people that stepped up and stepped into that. And, you know, and I love them. I absolutely value and appreciate all that they did for me as a kid. And I love that they loved me and they held space for me and they encouraged me and supported me and all those things. It wasn't my mom though. You know what I mean? But the value of all of that was not lost on me, truly. So right. When you find yourself at those places, allow yourself to feel that and know that it's okay. It's okay to feel that your feelings are valid. And it's
that's okay right.
To release them and let it go.
And it's another example of time as an illusion, because we all know when we lose somebody that we deeply love and that time's coming around, sometimes it's as if it just happened. That moment in time is still right here in this moment. So time is illusionary. You know, we hold those memories, they're right there. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle.
Feel very raw. My mom's birthday, St. Patrick's Day, so we just had that and that's when all that kind of hit me, and it usually does around her birthday. But you know, it's you know, allow yourself and just know that those feelings are valid and
feel them. Yeah. But really allow yourself to release. This is interesting. They're really bringing this through. This is the part you really release. And then it changes the grief into a different energy. It's not that it's still not there, when you release the guilt you might have, or the regret over lost opportunity, or what you didn't say it to them now. I know it's not the same thing, but all those things we hold on to, maybe the anger, maybe there can be so many things, the things you didn't get to resolve while they were here. All of that, when tied to grief, holds it locked in a space sometimes.
Yep.
So those parts can be healed and transformed, and then it changes our relationship to the grief sometimes.
Yes.
So just to throw that out there as a possibility. I had to do a lot of that work for my grief, for different griefs I had. So.
Oh yeah. And just remember too, Shrek had it right. We are onions. Sometimes it's one layer at a time.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes we're lucky and we can peel a few.
And sometimes we get to the core of the issue right away, but yeah.
Sometimes if we're lucky, it just depends on what it is, and that's okay too. Because again, our healing journey is a journey, not a race. Thank God.
Yep.
So the path may seem long and windy sometimes. And sometimes that's because we're learning a lot along the way. And sometimes it's short and quick, like 100-meter dash. And that's okay too. But each leg is a new adventure.
Nice. Yes. Okay. So they're saying to me, anything that you've unpacked in the last few days that you want to release, go ahead and put out in your bubble in front of you. I know we're not doing a huge healing space tonight, like we're not opening up a big, but I'm hearing put that out in front of you. And if you would like it to be released, oh, Creator of all that is, it is asked to release that. Thank you. It is done, is done, is done. And I want you to witness as the energy of divine comes in and takes what you put out there to release and takes it up to divine to be refreshed, renewed, transformed. Know that you are infinitely loved. I'm hearing for everybody on this now or in the future, if you'd like to receive unconditional love healing, just say yes. Creator of all that is asked to bring in unconditional love healing. Thank you. Oh, and allowing that pure unconditional love to flow to you for those who say yes through all space, time, dimension, reality. Okay. They want you to know you are loved. You are deeply loved. I am disconnecting all of our energies, not that we were ever fully connected per se, but always cleansing the space. And I would always advise you when you're on a Facebook Live, when you're in with other people connected in, whether we're connecting intentionally, like we're not reading people's energy. We didn't, go ahead and witness a disconnect, a separation, an energetic boundary per se. See yourself cleansed in the light, perhaps. And we do that automatically at the beginning and the end. We just cleanse the energy around from our space, so we're cleansed. All right. You have anything to add there, Mo?
No, just if it feels like it's a bit overwhelming or it feels like it's too much, reach out to people.
Yeah.
Just reach out to people. Reach out to who you feel that you can trust, or who that you do trust, or reach out to somebody that you're drawn to. Reach out to Sarah, reach out to me, reach out to whoever, reach out to each other, whoever. Just find someone
Yep.
to reach out to, because you're not broken and you're not alone and you're not crazy,
and you are loved.
Absolutely beyond measure.
Yep. Okay. Well,
All
you
right.
guys have a great Tuesday evening. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.